That was
ugly
very
all
ugly.
around. If you go back and look at that goal, that
Tanev with
whole
an
line
absolute
is
grenade off the
it's
skates and then
bad.
lazy. It was
No
ugly.
one throws on the brakes.
Ugly.
No one back checks. It's
Swooping.
ugly.
Yeah. So if we know Marner's going to be the third man high as those guys take it to the net here, who's the third man on Nyes, Tavares, and Pacioretty? Who's going to be the third man high on that line?
Yeah.
You don't think that line will defend?
I just think all three of them want to get to the front of the net.
Who's going to carry the puck on that line?
Yeah, I mean, hey, that's a legitimate
And that's
concern for
Tavares
why
is
that
just,
line.
he's not a playmaker. He's not his
None of
strength.
them really are.
His strength is not moving the puck outside of a 6-foot radius around the net. So that one, I think it looks good once you get the puck in certain areas.
Yeah. That's what we said yesterday. Like, that line is built to beat up on some weaker teams. But yeah, look, these are smart professionals. I don't think that anyone's just going to not play defense for a shift or two. So, well, maybe for a shift or two, but not for a whole game.
But the thought of having Matthews and Marner, and when Matthews is at his best, he's down below the goal line. He's down below the hash marks, digging pucks out, and Marner clearly is great at that. And then you have Willie kind of cheating up the side of the sideboards. There is in a world where it works out really great, where you transition the puck and it looks awesome.
Yeah.
But, like I said, there can be some overpassing, getting a little cute.
My guess with this team is that it doesn't look great just because of what you're talking about. They're all excited to play with each other, and
Start snapping around to each other.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll take a quick break.
You don't want to do Minton before we go to break, or do you want to do that after?
Yeah, we'll do that after the break because we got Dr. Jason Smith coming up and going to go a little bit over the Stolar situation and concerns and how quickly can he get back off this pebble.
He's got pebbleitis.
Pebbleitis.
Isn't there someone from the Flintstones, Pebble or something? Isn't that a thing?
That's one of their. That's his
That's
daughter.
a daughter.
Okay.
Come on.
Yeah, that was on after MASH.
MASH.
I actually loved the Flintstones when I was a kid, but I knew there was something. Pebble.
Listen, we're going
Anyways.
to take a break. I'm going to explain the Brady Bunch to you. Okay, the Partridge Family.
Thank you.
Just
Thank you.
Sit back and relax.
Really need that.
All right, more of that when we return to Real Kipper and Bourne. Welcome back to the Real Kipper and Bourne Show. Okay, one of my favorite segments already because we can pretend to be doctors or we can go get the real deal here. And this is one of the leading sports orthopedic surgeons, been around close to 20 years around pro sports, working out of the OV Surgical and the Scarborough Health Network. Let's welcome in Dr. Jason Smith. Doctor?
Hey, guys. Doctor.
Wow.
In proper attire today. Sorry, we got him right in the OR here.
Hey,
Yeah, live from OV Surgical. Here we go.
Awesome.
if you got someone on the table, can you turn the camera around?
Maybe some doctor-patient confidentiality stuff there.
Wow. You're lucky we're not there. We could drop a junior mint on somebody at any second right now. Hey, thanks for joining us. We won't take much of your time because we know you're saving lives. But just quickly, for the viewers, listeners, a lot of Leaf fans out there, what the heck is a pebble-like size thing floating around in someone's knee?
Yeah, I was listening to you guys talk about it before, and you guys kind of have it right. A loose body can be, one of two things. Either a little piece of the cartilage, on the knee that's come off, maybe a little piece of bone, or a little piece of the meniscus, which is the shock absorber that sits between the two bones. Could be a little piece of that's kind of flipped up on there. So that in itself, it's kind of a nothing burger. Like, it's little loose body, go in, clean it out, a couple weeks till he's skating again, 4 weeks, he's back. If they want to drag it out, 6 weeks. That in itself is not a big deal.
So the question, I guess, from there is that sort of thing, does that come from where, or is that just general degeneration, which I think is maybe more concerning?
Based on his history.
Yeah, that's the $1 million question, right? And I think you guys nailed it there, is that, is this nothing, or is this the tip of the iceberg? Is there a lot more going on here? Now, I listened to them try to say this has nothing to do with the past, has nothing to do with his previous surgeries. he had an MCL reconstruction on that side. It was 2017 Philly. Anytime enough energy goes through a knee in order to require a ligament repair, that knee is getting old fast. So he's already had a big procedure on that knee. Combine that with another 6 years of professional hockey on it, you worry that, there's more going on than just a little loose body. Like, where did that loose body come from? Mm-hmm. Now, is that from the cartilage that's degenerating faster? Is that his shock absorber that's wearing out? Like, I don't care about the loose body. Loose body is no big deal. What I care about is, where did that loose body come from? And what does that mean big picture? So I think you guys nailed it when you were kind of sitting on that. Is there more going on?
How long does it take to accumulate this loose bump or pebble? And is there a chance that the Leafs go in, clean it up, and then a month later, 2 months later, it reappears and bothers them again?
Yeah, again, it makes a question of, what is the source of that loose body? Like, if the cartilage all on the end of his bone is just like wearing away and dropping loose bodies, that this could be the start of, some guys have 2 or 3 scopes throughout their career where every offseason they're getting loose bodies taken out a little bit more. But it's definitely a sign that there's some more serious degeneration happening inside that knee.
And then the positive outlook is that it could be just a one-off. I had something in my eye earlier today. I got the thing out. My eye's fine again. Can it be as simple as that?
Yeah, it can be. And you're hoping it's just that. Even, say he has a little bit of degeneration and he's flaked off a little loose body and they take it out. Yeah, no big deal. And so he's got some cartilage wear, may get a shot of cortisone come playoff time. I think they have him for 2 years. Next year, maybe one more little scope, a little more cortisone, grind them through. Where I'd be worried is if this was your franchise goalie. Like, did you sign a 10-year, $70 million contract with this guy? Like, is it something like that? But in this situation, I'm pretty confident they're going to manage him through it, without much problem. They'll get him through the playoffs. They'll get him through next year. Even if he needs another scope, 4 to 6 weeks again. Like, not that big of a deal to me.
Hey, scopes now for you guys are like a walk in the park. Like, you can get guys up in 7 to 10 days. Now, I imagine it's a lot more because of the wear and tear of a goalie getting up and down compared to a skater. But, it could be less than 4 to 6 weeks. Is that fair?
Yeah, I mean, 2 little incisions, 2 little keyhole incisions in his knee. So those got to heal before he puts his stinky equipment back on. You don't want this to get infected. So you're looking at 7 to 10 days there. Then, all the swelling's coming out of it. You start skating, by 2 weeks you're skating. And then just how quickly he gets his timing back. So yeah, it can be quick. Like 4 weeks, I think is very reasonable. No reason to battle super hard through this to try to get back earlier. If it was playoffs, you could push it maybe 3 weeks, 2 weeks, but no reason to here. But it's not going to be a long 8-10 weeks all of a sudden. This is a simple little procedure. Takes 10, 15 minutes to do. You're in, you're out. No big deal.
Is that your patient I hear going, hello, I'm over here?
Yeah, what do you mean no big deal? This is a big deal to me.
That's right, yeah.
All right, go back to work. Start cutting people up. Thanks for doing this, pal.
Thanks, Doc.
All right, Dr.
Anytime.
Jason Smith, lead orthopedic surgeon, who kind of, painted a picture for us a little bit, did he not?
You feel better or worse?
Oh, as long as it's not signed for 10 years, no problem.
I will say, if I'm his agent, I hated that segment.
I don't know how I feel, but again, we did the game the other day. We left our game when he got hurt with a thought of, this is a guy with some history here, and it should be noted, and it's noted.
Leafs facing center crisis amid injuries, eyeing trade market for solutions. As the Toronto Maple Leafs battle through a growing injury list and a suspension, their lack of depth at the center position has become a glaring issue. According to Sportsnet's Elliot Friedman in his latest 32 Thoughts article, the Leafs are among the teams exploring trade options to bolster their lineup. This effort is coming amid increasing competition from teams like the Chicago Blackhawks and Nashville Predators, who have also set their sights on improving their center depth. Friedman didn't mince words about the Leafs' predicament. The teams currently focusing on centers, including Chicago and Nashville, must consider when others will enter the market. Toronto will undoubtedly be one of those teams, he wrote. While the Blackhawks and Predators may have an edge in terms of cap space and assets, the Leafs remain a team to watch as the season progresses. The Leafs situation is urgent, with up to 7 forwards currently unavailable due to injury or suspension. Ryan Reeves is serving a 5-game suspension, while key players like Austin Matthews, upper body, Matthew Knies, upper body, Kaje Jarnkrok, groin/sports hernia, David Kampf, lower body, Max Domi, lower body, and Max Pacioretty, lower body, are all sidelined. The team has even considered temporarily shifting Mitch Marner to the center position, highlighting the severity of their depth issues. This isn't just a short-term concern for the Leafs. Depth at center has been a persistent challenge for the team, and while stopgap solutions like Marner could help in the interim, the front office appears keen to explore longer-term fixes. For fans of the blue and white, this has been a recurring theme. The Leafs' center depth often becomes a problem at the worst possible times. James Myrtle of The Athletic recently added more fuel to the speculation, naming several potential trade targets who could help the Leafs address their issues. Among them is Ryan O'Reilly, a familiar name for Toronto fans. O'Reilly, who signed a 4-year, $18 million deal with Nashville in 2023, might be a trade candidate if the Predators' underwhelming start to the season, 6-11-3, 31st in the league, prompts a rebuild. However, his steep price tag and history with the Leafs, including rejecting a free agency offer less than 2 years ago, make this a complex and potentially unlikely move. Other names mentioned by Myrtle include former Leaf Nazem Kadri, currently with Calgary, as well as players like Michael Granlund, Nick Jugstad, Brock Nelson, Yanni Gourde, Trent Frederick, Radek Faksa, and Sean Corrali. While some of these options seem more plausible than others, it's clear that general manager Brad Treliving will need to get creative to find the right piece without mortgaging the team's future. Cap space remains one of the biggest obstacles for the Leafs. Unlike teams like Chicago and Nashville, which have more flexibility and assets, Toronto is walking a financial tightrope. As Friedman noted, competition will intensify as cap-constrained teams strive to create room. For the Leafs, that could mean waiting for the market to develop further, a risky move given their current needs. The situation also highlights the Leafs' ongoing struggle to build a roster that can withstand the grueling nature of an NHL season. Injuries are an inevitability in hockey, but Toronto's current predicament underscores the importance of depth, a quality the team has struggled to consistently maintain. Looking back on recent years, the Leafs have often leaned heavily on their star players, particularly Matthews, Marner, and William Nylander. While these players have delivered in spades, the lack of reliable depth options has left the team vulnerable in critical moments. The current crisis at center is merely the latest example of this recurring issue. Some fans have called for more aggressive moves from Treliving, arguing that now is the time to strike while the team's core is in its prime. Others, however, are more cautious, pointing to the dangers of overpaying for short-term fixes. Striking the right balance will be key, especially as the Leafs aim to keep their championship window open. Despite the challenges, there's no denying that Toronto has the talent to be a contender, provided they can patch up their lineup. The ongoing rumors and speculation surrounding potential trades show that the Leafs are at least exploring every avenue to strengthen their roster. For fans of the blue and white, this moment feels like a pivotal point in the season. With a lineup ravaged by injuries and a tough schedule ahead, the Leafs must act decisively to avoid falling behind in the standings. The addition of a dependable center could be the difference between weathering the storm or watching another season slip away. Whether it's O'Reilly, Kadri, or another surprise name, one thing is certain: the Leafs are under pressure to deliver. And for a fan base as passionate and loyal as Toronto's, there's no room for excuses. The time to act is now, and Leafs Nation is watching closely. As the trade deadline approaches, the stakes couldn't be higher. Will Treliving pull off a move that solidifies the Leafs' status as a contender, or will the search for center depth become yet another chapter in the team's long history of what-ifs? Only time will tell, but one thing's for sure, it's never boring in Leafs land. As the Maple Leafs navigate this critical juncture, their fan base remains as vocal as ever. Toronto is a city that breathes hockey, and the pressure on Brad Treliving to make the right moves is immense. Every decision he makes, or doesn't make, will be scrutinized, from talk radio to social media, where Leafs Nation is already debating the merits of the various names being floated as potential trade targets. Among the louder debates is whether the team should prioritize a high-profile acquisition like Ryan O'Reilly or Nazem Kadri, or focus on a lower-cost, reliable center who can fill a supporting role without costing too many future assets. While O'Reilly's leadership and playoff experience make him an attractive option, his contract and recent history with the Leafs add layers of complexity to any potential reunion. Similarly, Kadri's gritty, two-way playstyle remains a fan favorite, but his cap hit and availability might render him an unrealistic target. Another factor complicating the Leafs situation is their tight salary cap. While Chicago and Nashville can make moves with relative ease due to their financial flexibility, Toronto must navigate a labyrinth of constraints to make any trade work. This likely means including salary retention or moving existing contracts to make room, which could drive up the cost of any potential deal. The question then becomes, how much are the Leafs willing to sacrifice to address their immediate needs? One potential trade partner generating buzz is the Seattle Kraken. Yanni Gourde, a dependable two-way center, has been mentioned as a possible target. Gourde's versatility and championship pedigree from his time with Tampa Bay make him an appealing option. Seattle, however, is in playoff contention and may not be inclined to part with a key piece unless the Leafs can provide a substantial return. Another intriguing name is Brock Nelson of the New York Islanders. Nelson is a consistent scorer and reliable faceoff-man, qualities that would undoubtedly bolster Toronto's center depth. However, the Islanders are notoriously cautious when it comes to trades, and prying Nelson away would likely require a significant package, including picks or prospects that the Leafs may be hesitant to part with. For all the trade talk, some analysts believe the solution might come from within. Sheldon Keefe has shown a willingness to experiment with his lineup, and players like Pontus Holmberg or Fraser Minton could be given an opportunity to step up. While relying on less experienced players carries risks, it might be the Leafs' only option if the trade market proves too costly or slow to develop. Adding to the Leafs' urgency is the timing. The Atlantic Division remains one of the toughest in the league, with teams like Boston, Florida, and Tampa Bay continuing to dominate. Any prolonged slump could see Toronto slip further down the standings, putting their playoff hopes in jeopardy. For a team with Stanley Cup aspirations, failing to address their weaknesses could have catastrophic consequences. Brad Treliving's history as a general manager suggests he's not afraid to make bold moves. His time with the Calgary Flames was marked by blockbuster trades, including the acquisition of Jonathan Huberdeau and Mackenzie Weegar in the Matthew Tkachuk deal. Leafs fans hope he brings that same decisiveness to Toronto, especially as the trade deadline looms. Beyond the immediate need for a center, this situation underscores a broader issue with the Leafs roster construction. Depth has been a perennial concern, and while Toronto boasts some of the league's top-end talent, their reliance on a handful of stars has left them vulnerable in moments like this. Moving forward, addressing this imbalance must be a priority for the front office if the team is to achieve sustained success. As the Leafs head into a critical stretch of the season, the next few weeks could define their trajectory.